All right, we're back with Deborah Peters. So which city and country are you in right now?
Los Angeles, yeah,
Cool.
big metropolis.
Yeah, me as well. And the weather's great. It's great to be here with you. And you have a unique background. It's all around human capital, which really means people, diverse people. Obviously, have global experience in leadership, behavior, mind, culture. To currently using our minds, utilizing neurosciences, which you can tell us about. Share with us how you've evolved in your career, and tell us: are you where you always wanted to be when you grow up?
Oh yeah, I'm really loving this, and I'm always reflecting on how when I was a kid I knew I was going to be doing this. It's that classic statement, what we don't know, we don't know, and what we're going to be utilizing hasn't been invented yet. So I knew this is what I was going to be doing, but let me tell you, the tools that we have available to us today, technology and just, the internet and all of that rolled into one is far beyond anything I could have ever imagined having as a pool of resources.
Well, you knew as a kid.
I knew as a kid, yeah.
How?
Yeah, I used to, I grew up on a farm, and we were in a cold climate. So in the wintertime, there was rarely did we get outdoors. So you just learned to figure things out inside. You didn't sit around and watch television. So I used to set up these little cardboard boxes in the living room and pretend they were a stage, and I was there, guiding people through their processes. And I was probably doing it for my cats and dogs when I was a kid.
Isn't it amazing how there's obviously a lot of creativity even in today's world, but it's amazing how our imagination was triggered by having to do what you did, and even even Legos and God knows what, all sorts of things like that.
Yeah, and I'm really blessed in that I've never let go of my imagination. I know for some folks, as they become adults, it kind of gets conditioned out of them that, you got to get your
Right.
head out of the clouds and you need to get serious. And yes, I believe that there's an element to getting things done in terms of execution,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the imagination that really creates the ideas. If you look at any cool product or offering or service that's available today, it came from imagination. So
Right.
foster that. And I'm blessed that I've done that.
Not to get too sidelined, I had an executive I was talking to, and he said, I was talking about imagination and creativity. He says, sure, we're creative. People are creating amazing things these days, but there's still a piece of imagination and the time to let our mind just do its own thing, not be creative, but allow it to happen. And the example he gave, I don't know if I'd shared this with you before, he gave, have you ever, when you were a little kid, closed your eyes so tight and you see all these colors going all over the place and things happening, and you kind of you're just in it type of deal?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to get out in nature. That's where I find my most creative moment. Get out in the mountains, go for a trail run, or go hike and just be outdoors. And it just is tremendous.
Yeah, and I'm with you there. So, with respect to talent, as you know, we focus on attracting, two words we use the most are the right fit for our clients. But they also have to have a strong, quote unquote, why as to why they're doing this, so that you can attract the top people, because they want to know that why, and they want to know that it's aligned. Tell us about your experiences, how people still truly are the number one asset, and equally important with your engagement with leaders, what they offer to and create for their people to ensure that their business and each of those people are successful.
Well, there's a couple questions in there. So
Yeah, there are.
I would say, in terms of talent, or I hate to use the word human capital. It sounds kind of cold. But in terms of talent, you can't grow an organization without people. It's impossible. And so really attracting the people that are in alignment, like you said, with the why. Another terminology I would use for the why is core values.
Right.
What are your core values as an organization? I've worked with some folks that were looking to change careers, and I've had them create their own value proposition, because that is your why. What's driving inside really deep to go after that next job or that next role, or to create that next startup, or whatever the case may be. I think it's all the same. It's just it just looks different. It's just a different environment. So that's really the key in terms of a leader around that. I think, just having a really strong relationship with yourself, because when you have a really strong relationship with yourself, you're not threatened by others.
Right.
And then you can foster and encourage the people that are around you to really shine and to bring their best to the table. What happens with that is then personal goals get fulfilled within professional environments. When that takes place, you have someone for the long haul. They're not going to hop around because they're fulfilled.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. We also do a lot of work in the quote-unquote wellness arena, and that's not, certainly hasn't, it's way beyond, we have a medical plan and there's a treadmill in the back room for you to run on. And
Right.
And we found that, that why, exactly what you're talking about, then fulfills their personal goals, which then creates, performance and good morale. And you're right, people don't stay for money, they stay for what you're talking about, right?
Absolutely. And when you have your people in a nice place mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, then the money is going to be a bonus to them, and they're going to wake up inspired every day, and they're going to come in enthusiastic instead of dragging their heels like this is somewhere I have to go.
Right.
Instead, it's going to be, I'm contributing to the growth of this. I'm part of something. We are aligned. And that's my buzzword, alignment. We're doing a lot of collaborating with other companies, co-creating with other companies. I don't have any intention to build my company into this huge organization, because then I think it loses a lot. Mm-hmm. So instead, we're collaborating and we're co-creating. And that alignment, I'm telling you, my team just shows up so thrilled that I can't turn them off even if I wanted to.
Who wouldn't be thrilled to be working with you, Deborah? I mean, really. My favorite word, alignment is my favorite word in the whole dictionary is actually awareness. But those words are kind of aligned with each other to a great degree. So, I deal with a lot of execs like you, but I also deal with a lot of sports executives. And one sports executive I interviewed saying, Mark, every year we go for the championship. But we know we're not going to get it every year. It's very competitive, but that's what we go for. What we mandate we want to have every year is a winning season. And that's in sports. Winning season in business is, profitability or whatever it may be. To have the winning season, he says we need a winning culture to be consistent. So we've talked this in the past about how important branding is for individuals, for their employers, and how their employees are now ambassadors of the company, which relates to what you're saying there about how they feel coming, and it's just the same why and the same core values. Is there a common element you find globally when you work in different countries as to the best way to engage with employees to be part of that branding and part of that winning culture?
Absolutely. So, America is unique in that way, I believe, and depending on which region you're in America, you're going to experience different, I call them thinking systems. I teach a whole program on memes, and not the memes that you necessarily see on a computer, but the memes of the mind. Mm-hmm. And those are thinking systems that are values driven. So what happens is, depending on where you are, depending on the resources that are available, will determine how quickly that thinking system in that region moves along. And Europe is a little different, and when you look at different cultures in Europe, you're going to find different speeds of progression. What I'm finding now is where Europe was a little bit slow on the entrepreneurial space and the drive toward autonomy, that's shifted I've seen it shift dramatically in the last year, where when I would speak the message of, let's build your small to mid-sized company, and they'd kind of fog over like, I don't want that responsibility. I want to work for a corporation. Now we're seeing a huge uptick in that space. The Middle East is similar. So, and now look what's happening with Cuba. That's going to be the entrepreneur mecca. So it's very interesting to see these changes come along.
Yeah, in fact, Cuba is realizing they have a shortage in production for the cigars, the demand that they're going to get. Believe it or not.
Not surprised.
But it's just I've always loved international. When I came to the States, leading an international organization, and now through an acquisition, I've got another global partnership. And I think you're right. Even the thing we're doing right now, video interviews. Global organization was just starting to get into it. And now with us, they're getting into it more and more. I don't know if it's because they think Americans we like to be more out there and they want to be more conservative, but they're realizing that you can have a balance and be able to engage in who you are and what your why is.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes me think of a conversation I had with an executive that their headquarters is in London.
Mm-hmm.
And actually a second conversation I had with an organization that hired me to come in and do a keynote for their organization, and they're also in London. And they kind of said to me, sort of delicately, like, can you just, when you come in, can you tone it down just a little? Because, you are from California. And,
of course.
we all know that California is a little different, and, the Brits are a bit more conservative, and I was just kind of chuckling to myself because my thought was, well, how about this? Rather than me tone down, how about I give you the tools to level up and expand your viewpoint? Because perhaps within that conservatism, you're missing out on some opportunities. And so we were able to sort of, thank goodness, my background's in linguistics and neuroscience, so I was able to shift the language patterns on that, and it was fun. It was fun. We got a good response.
I was speaking at a conference in Vienna, and they asked me if I really did need to show the videos about how, it was about inspiring and having a dream and different things like that. Do you really need to show those? Because I don't know if the Europeans are going to like them or not.
Yeah.
And we said, yeah, we really need to show them.
We really do, because this is the direction we're all headed.
And they loved it. They loved it. They were turned on. So I get what you're saying. So some personal questions, and as I usually say, not that personal, unfortunately, because it'd be even more interesting. But little ones. Do you have a pet?
I used to. My doggy died. I had it for 13 years, and I'm not ready to get another one yet.
Yeah, I know. I've had that.
Still hurting.
I've got a 14 plus that we're just who knows? We'll see. But do you have a favorite activity or sport?
Yeah, anything outdoors, really. Love trail running. Pulled a muscle recently doing plyometrics in the gym, so I'm kind of on the mend, but real soon I'm going to get back out there. Yeah. Cool.
We'll have to do a hike together. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Don't really watch television, so sorry to burst your bubble on that, but
it wasn't the bubble to burst.
I know a lot of people do, and I'm like, I don't even know what's playing. In terms of, although I've been known to get my odd Netflix fix in occasionally.
Absolutely.
In terms of movies, look, anything that's about adventure, the imagination, and it's a feel good. So I can't imagine why I would want to sit through a movie that revs up my nervous system around fear and doubt. Like, why do that to yourself?
Well, right? It's kind of like riding a roller coaster, maybe. I don't know. Everybody's got this.
Well, that's fun.
How about music and food?
Yeah, everything. Everything. No, I know. It's like, I'm not an either-or kind of person. I'm an and kind of person. So
I'm with you.
It depends on the day. It depends on the environment. It depends on the mood. I can swing from opera and classical to country or, whatever. But I will say this.
Yeah.
I really enjoy, do you remember, it's a very old school instrument, the harpsichord?
Sure.
Yeah. So any of that sort of period music is really, love that.
I would agree. In the right mood and whatnot. We just saw the Vienna Boys Choir in Vienna in an old church. It was fantastic, and, you got to appreciate it all, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I hope that some of this is helpful to people and it inspires them.
Well, it did me.
Good.